Welcome back, episode 13 of the pod. I'm Dermot. Peter, delighted to be joined by Matisse. Chelsea fan, obviously, as you can see in the background, the two goats there. Matisse, tell us a bit about yourself before we get going.
Yeah, guys, I mean, it's a pleasure to come on. Honestly, it's the first time I'm actually doing a collaboration with guys from Ireland, which is great. Because obviously I'm living here at the moment. I'm in Cavan, did 5 years here for the Leaving Cert, did college and everything. So I'm from London, obviously. You can hear it in the accent. Live in London usually, but when Boris is making a mess, we escape. So yeah, man, I'm just delighted to be on here, to be talking with you guys. Because like I said, we've got to represent the Irish. I love the Irish people because I've literally been living here. They've never been, I've never seen such kind people. If you walk past people on the street in Ireland, they'll say hello to you. In London, it's like, yo, just stay away. So
don't look at me.
Yeah, I think my Irish followers will be very happy to see me collaborate with you guys. So I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, we're going to be nice to you as well today, considering that result that happened last night. An absolute shambles on our behalf. What do you make of the game?
Wow. Do you know what it was? Yeah, for me, I was just very 50-50, extremely nervous. I was thinking to myself, I don't know what's going to happen because I know you guys are going to play a high line. You're not going to sit back. You're going to be a little bit more expansive and expressive on the ball. And we don't have a good record at Anfield either. So I was always nervous going into the game because with Chelsea, we haven't been clinical. We've been a bit toothless up front. So despite us playing well, dominating games in possession, we haven't been ruthless. We haven't been killing teams off. So I thought to myself, even if we are dominating against you guys, you're always going to be in the game, which is what happened because it was only 1-0. But for me, I was just very intrigued to see how we would come up against your defense and our attack, because I know you've got a few, new guys in there that you've signed that are not really of the level that you should be aspiring to. But obviously our strikers haven't been finishing as well. So I was interested to see how that matchup would go. And it was a must win for both teams because we're not in the top four, either of us, before this game. West Ham were occupying that spot. So we had mad pressure under us. You had a few players coming back as well, back from injury, like Alisson, obviously, rest in peace to his father. He obviously had a tough time. I wasn't sure if he was going to start just due to concentration as well. So there was so much in the air with the fixture. But yeah, I'm just delighted to come out with the win because we needed that desperately.
Yeah. When I seen that lineup and I didn't see Giroud, I'm not going to lie, because I predicted a draw beforehand, maybe a little 1-1 or 0-0 or something. But when I seen no Giroud, I was getting a bit more confident because I don't know what his record is against us, but it's very good. He always seems to score against us, a little near post flick on or a header or something like that. But Timo Werner, I'm not gonna lie, when you got him and we didn't get him, I was good. I thought we were gonna get him. It looked all ends up, but it didn't happen or whatever. But he made bits of us. Now his finishing is shocking. I think his movement, his pace, and all that is class, but. Got we'll touch on that goal he got. I'm still saying that's a goal. I don't know how they can disallow that. Like usually when VAR decisions go for us, I'd be happy or whatever. I actually wasn't even celebrating that. I thought that was an absolute disgrace. Yeah. Like at the start as well, I was saying to my dad, are they giving offside for Ziyech? Did Ziyech get involved here at the end or something? Because he was obviously offside, but that was a joke decision, and like you battered us. You should have won 3-4 now.
I can't speak any more worsely of these referees and these officials than I've already done, because for me, they're looking at hair follicles now, and if it's offside, it's offside. Like, what do they want him to do? Like I said it on my streams, they want him to do some sort of Naruto run. What are we coming to now where you can't even give the benefit of the doubt to the attacker? They're looking with their microscope and going, as close as they can to see if there's a little fingernail offside and shit. I'm just like, you guys have lost your mind. It's incredible. So when that goal went in, I'm starting to get to the point now where I can't celebrate goals because I don't know if it's a goal or not. And that's, for me, just killing the sport. So when it was called offside, I was just so angry because obviously Werner, he's not in the best run of form in terms of his goal output. He's playing well. He's making good runs as well. He was a threat a few times on the break. I was actually quite glad we didn't play Giroud because I felt like with you guys playing that mid-block to high line, I always wanted a fast striker up there, whether that be, Werner or even start Kai. He's got a bit of pace, but someone to take advantage of that high line because he was never going to set up deep, especially with the centre-backs you've got. So I was just hoping that Jorginho would play as well. Thank God he did with Kante. That was part of my predicted or hopeful lineup to play those balls over the top, and it was him that played it over for Werner. So, yeah, it was just, for me, it was crucial to play a quick forward. Obviously, the finishing was never going to be on point because none of them are finishing right now. Even Giroud is not really an out-and-out goal scorer. He's not consistent in terms of his finishing, in terms of getting, he's not going to get you 20, 25 goals a season. We support clubs that, we had, Anelkas and, Luis Suarez's and these guys that were banging goals for fun. Yeah, Torres, that was the biggest shake of all time, can I just say? You guys, Torres was one of my favorite strikers at Liverpool. Like everything, like the way that he was just peppering goals against Chelsea every Champions League night, everything. Great times. And we get him, and I'm so gassed, I'm so excited, and then it's just like nothing like the player that you guys had. So that was the biggest shake of all time. But
he did get that. He did produce that Gary Neville though, that meme of Neville that will go down when he rounded. Who's Victor Valdez? I think was Barca's keeper. Like I think that was worth 50 million in itself.
True.
For the fans anyway.
I still remember that goal he scored for Liverpool as well, where he sat Vidic on his backside. That was beautiful. I think it was at Old Trafford. Yeah. That was a 4-1 win, I think, for Fabio Aurelio. Yeah, unbelievable game. That was
Free
great.
Kick.
He's a magician. Yeah. But on that Werner, I'd actually disagree with Dermot as well. And I'd say I was disappointed they were starting Werner because I thought with Giroud, maybe the height of Fabinho, he'd be able to handle him aerially, and he's not that fast, but we're playing that high line. Timo Werner was burning the boys there. He was burning every time.
Trent.
Trent, I don't even want to get into. He was disgraceful. He was getting mugged. If we look at that goal, right? He's coming in. Trent sits back about 5-6 yards off him. He peels in. He's going for that shot. He's going for the far corner, and he stands back. And he only pushes him when he kicks it. I thought Fabinho and Trent were at fault for our goals, to be honest. It was terrible.
I have to ask you guys, what do you make of Trent this season? Because I think defensively he's been quite suspect, hasn't he, really, for quite a while now. He's been there to be got at. There's a lot of people saying, is he good enough defensively to really be playing for England on a consistent basis? What have you guys made of him?
The thing is with Trent, I think people are missing out. Like, he was dodgy enough defensively last season.
Always, yeah.
Last season, we had Henderson. He'd be on the right side in midfield. Van Dijk would be at the back, or Joe Gomez. So Trent knew he could just bomb for. Like, we were dominating teams as well. So Trent knew he could literally play as a right winger or an invert. Like what Joe Cancelo does. He can convert in sometimes, or go out in the overlap. But now, even if you watch the way he plays, he's a bit more conservative because he knows. Because whenever the ball would break down last season, Henderson was there to make a foul or get the ball back. Van Dijk was sweeping over, and then we'd retain possession.
Yeah, for
me,
me,
average defensively, probably even worse.
For me, Trent doesn't start for England. Like, if I'm England man, I don't start Trent. Like when you're playing internationally, you want to defend a bit more. They already have the attackers that they need up there. The midfield's solid. Trent, he's so suspect at defense. Like, every time we play, if they've any shape of a good winger, we know we're in trouble. I haven't seen him handle a player well. I don't think ever.
Yeah. It's an interesting one because a lot of people have also said maybe he can move into midfield and things like that. I think maybe if you guys are playing wing backs, that might help him because he wouldn't have to focus so much. He'd have a right-sided centre back behind him. But just defensively, I've never really been too keen. I've seen him get bullied and get dominated too much now. And Mason Mount's not really someone that he's a good player, but he's not a winger. Do you know what I mean? It's like, you should be able to stop this.
He's a calmer centre mid. Like, he's not gonna. If you ask a right back from the Prem and you're up against Mason Mount, you're like, yeah, he's a good player. Got to watch him technically, but he's not gonna, he's not gonna make bits of you. He's not rapid. He's quick. Like, he's quick enough, probably a bit more than average. But you say Mason Mount, yeah, I can handle him. I'd say that's what most right backs would say, and he made absolute bits with him. Like Mason Mount, actually, I'll ask you about him. I always thought he was a decent player. Like, obviously, he was known as Lampard's love child and all that. Around him. But what do you make of him? Because I know it's very divided with Chelsea fans.
Yeah, he's improved big time this season, I have to say. Obviously, he's been playing more in his position, which has been the number 8 when Lampard was here. Now Tuchel started to play him in this double 10 role with Werner. But his actual individual skill on the ball, when he's in tight situations, he's very good. He's got a little nutmeg in him. He can put a Felix on his backside and things like that. Flick a ball over the head of a Camavinga. So he's got individual brilliance and skill in him, but he doesn't use it unless he absolutely has to. I think a lot of people, pigeon him into this workhorse, off the ball runner type player. But on the ball, the only thing that he does need to improve on is his final decision making. There are times in the final third where there's that opportunity to play that killer pass and he doesn't quite see it or get it done. But he's going to be inconsistent in that because he's 22 years old. So I'm not, second season in the Prem, I'm not really too worried. I think he's going to improve on it. But for me, he is the heartbeat of the team at the moment because the energy that he puts in on the ball and off the ball. What I love about him is that he moves the ball at urgency. He moves it at a speed. He's not moving the ball like as if he's got all the time in the world. He's moving the ball like he plays in the Premier League, like he needs to be quick and vicious with it. So I'm really impressed with that. And he helps us because we play a double pivot of 2 6s, as you guys saw. And he will slot into it and make it a 3 defensively if it has to be in transition. He will get back into that role, but he'll also play the 10 on the half turn, and he'll pick up spaces in between the pockets and turn and make those runs. Obviously, I'm happy for him to get goals into his game as well. He's got finishing tech. He can shoot from range. He's been a bit unlucky with that over the years. Free kicks as well. So corners. He's got tech. And all the managers so far have loved him. Everybody thought it was just Lampard. Now it's Southgate and now it's Tuchel as well. So that just tells you that he's a good footballer. And the media, they talk about him in glowing terms. So everybody who worked with Mason at some point has had nothing but great things to speak about him in terms of the way that he is as a footballer. His application speaks for itself, to be honest.
Just on, like growing up in the Prem, playing football in the Prem, do you think that's made him a better player? Maybe, well, he's definitely more tailored for the Prem. If you look at the likes of even Havertz for yous, and that when they come into the Prem, they're a bit more like not relaxed, but they're a lot slower and they kind of slow down the game. Even I noticed with Thiago, he's a world class midfielder. He's been there, he's done it all, but sometimes he just takes too much out of the ball and the counter attack goes. So what do you think of Kai Havertz? Do you think he'll adopt or? Yeah,
I think he will. It's going to take time. 100% it's going to take time because the Bundesliga to this league is night and day. The way that they defend over there, they're just nothing but high lines. It's really just it's tennis really over there. It's just back and forth. There's so much space. I say that even with I love Jadon Sancho. It's a player that I definitely would take as well. But when you look at the difference when he's out wide and the amount of space that he's afforded for his decision making, and you look at the Premier League when they double up and they put two players on you if you're talented. Grealish spoke about it in the media recently. He's getting doubled up on the Prem. That doesn't really happen in the Bundesliga. You don't really get doubled up on. So there's the blocks are lower. It's a lot more less space.
We played Leipzig. It was looking like a tough. Like they played such a high line. Yeah, and we only got our goals off their mistakes. High line, Salah, Mane, space to get behind, bang goals. Like teams like that suit us lovely. But when we play the likes of even yous, I'm not saying yous are like a low block team, but
but defensively we're organised.
He's got the 5 in shape, but he's keep the ball really well. Even when we play the likes of Burnley, Palace, them sort of teams, we don't even look like scoring. That's the most worrying thing. It's not like we're missing a load of chances. If we're not making the chances, so. I don't know. I think Jota is going to help us a bit. If we went with the 4-2-3-1. I don't know if you watched that Sheffield United game, but we went with 4 or 5 attackers, and then we went back to that 4-3-3 last night. And I was just looking at that. I was like, "There's not a fear of us scoring."
Yeah, we haven't looked like scoring for a lot of the season. A lot of games we haven't looked like scoring. I think Jota, he's still obviously he's not 100%, up to match fitness. I thought Fabinho last night. For me, he looked off the pace a couple of yards. Like I know it's just kind of his first, big game, and he's starting again back. I didn't think he was ready. I think they forced that a bit too much, and I think he was at fault. He was at fault for that goal and for a couple other chances. And Robbo as well playing onside all game.
I thought because you guys have got so many injuries, they was always going to rush people back. I felt and Fabinho probably wasn't ready, and under normal circumstances he probably wouldn't play. But because you've got barely anybody available at times in the defence, and obviously your midfielders had to drop in. You've had Jordan Henderson playing centre back. It's been ridiculous, which has then compensated, made the midfield look worse as well. So I feel like they was always going to rush him back. You guys are in that type of season where just everything's going wrong.
Just want it to end.
Yeah, you really just need it to end. And to be honest, I don't even know if you guys are going to get top 4 because
No,
you don't think so? The top 4 race is so heated.
Yeah, but I ruled it off.
about
I thought even
3 weeks ago.
like say we nicked a lucky draw or even a win last night. There's still like 2 or 3 losses in. Like I'm not confident at all we'll beat Fulham. Fulham are going all right. They're fighting for their lives. We have them on Sunday.
Yeah.
I'd rule top 4 out definitely. Like United play crap football, but they're still going to make top 4. I think they've too much of a buffer. Leicester, you don't know, they might collapse, but I think you'll definitely make top 4. I said as soon as Tuchel was appointed.
Yeah.
We get top. Like just on that, like on the Frank Lampard sack, and what was your? Because we're not going to lie, I thought he was a shocking manager. I thought he got the job well too early. Because we always rage your squad. It was just the manager.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I was very patient, as patient as I possibly could have been. That Leicester game is where I said he needs to go 100%. Like, and no surprises, he goes just a week later after the Luton game. So that's when I kind of had the end of my tether, and I feel like that's when the board had the end of the tether as well. Once that Leicester result happened and the way that we played in that game, I think the board said to themselves, we're going to start looking for someone now, and then next Premier League game, you won't be here, which is what happened. The reason why I gave him that time is because I wanted to see if it was a bad patch, and I wanted to see if his intelligence, because he's obviously known for being quite an intelligent person, if his intelligence could get him out of the situation. Is he going to change system? Is he going to try something new? He didn't. He didn't really change too much.
He's very stubborn. He came across as stubborn.
Yeah, he did become a bit stubborn because he didn't really want to change formation or try anything new. He didn't really want to, go with the 2 up front at times when we had no wingers. He still stuck with the 4-3-3 even with no wingers available, and I thought that was quite kind of strange. We had a period where we had 2 weeks where we had no real games apart from a Morecambe game in the Cup. That was his opportunity to work with the players in the training ground. I was like, okay, cool. This has been a difficult season. You haven't had much time to work with players in terms of training because it's just back-to-back games. So I'm going to sympathize with you on that point. You've got 2 weeks now where you've got a Morecambe game in between, which is basically going to act as a friendly. Let's see what you can do. Let's see if you train this team up. And I remember we beat Fulham 1-0. It was absolutely horrendous. Awful performance. They went down to 10 men for most of that game.
The game.
Yeah, and we just snuck it for a late goal from Mason Mount, wasn't it? Yeah. So I said to myself, that's not good enough. And that's the first game I've seen after the 2-week break where you've had all this training. I'm not seeing anything. And people keep saying, oh, you need time. Look how quickly it took Tuchel to implement his philosophy, He hopped off a flight inside 24 hours and he had the team set up against Wolves. It was a 0-0, but that could have easily been a defeat. Yeah. But we played well. We just couldn't take our chances.
That's the thing, I think. A lot of the time in the Prem, and they're saying about giving managers time and whatever. You've seen with Tuchel, he's come in and he's proven himself straight away within a matter of days. He'd already like Ollie. They were backing him up for about how many months to say, well, give him time. He's not a good manager. Yeah. He doesn't do it against the top 6. A good manager doesn't need all the time in the world. That's what I feel like nowadays. Even see with maybe Arteta, who's doing okay, but like these type of players coming in to manage, I feel like they're given a bit too much respect because they're a club legend or whatever. Like we know what Frank done. He'll always be a legend for the club, but is there a need to give him this much time? Like clearly it wasn't working. Yeah,
people were saying he was learning on the job, and he was. And my thing is that you just have to learn faster, and he wasn't learning fast enough. It's as simple as that. I'm happy for you to. I mean, I didn't actually want him to come in the first place. I always felt like it was too soon. I felt like we was just putting our own needs of the transfer ban ahead of his own needs as a manager to go and develop himself and work on his craft before he actually got the pinnacle job. So for me, we rushed that. But then on top of that, once he was here, I said, fine, that's cool. You got a season where you've got no players that you've been able to bring in due to the transfer ban. If you can get us into the top 4, it's a great season. He did that. Lost the FA Cup final, which was a bit alarming for me because we was favourites going into that game. I thought that was a little bit poor on our part not to win that match against an Arsenal team that I don't really rate highly.
To be fair, and then, I remember the referee absolutely rode you that game though. Is that the game? Anthony Taylor. So I remember that. I just remember that refereeing performance was shocking. Oh, yeah.
It was. And then this season, it was all about stepping it up again. Everyone said to ourselves, we should be challenging. I said bare minimum, we should be at least closing the gap. Top 4 should definitely not be an issue with the amount of players we've brought in. Even if they have to adapt, 1 or 2 of them, you should be able to get them firing from the offset and blend the rest of them in. Liverpool have been good with that. When they brought in Fabinho, brought in Keita, they've always blended them in slowly. Klopp's always taken his time with it. but you have you have a much better squad than you had last year. And for me, just did not kick on. I mean, we found ourselves in like 8th position, so it's not good enough. And I always said the bare minimum again has to be top 4, which is just the bare minimum. It's not even good enough, but it's the bare minimum. And if he wasn't looking like reaching that, he was going to get sacked. And a lot of Chelsea fans didn't want to believe it. They wanted to live in La La Land where he just gets unlimited time and he can do whatever he wants. But this is not how it works. Roman Abramovich has always had high standards. He's not going to just sacrifice all of that because it's Frank Lampard. If anything, I said to people, the fact that it's Frank Lampard means that he's going to get less time because he's got no CV to back himself up. You go into a crisis meeting where you're not doing your job properly and you're a project manager, and then you look at your CV and you don't have any history of any managing any projects to success, then what are you going to say in the meetings? So for me, it was, if anything, it was less time. There's no fans in the ground as well. So there's no pressure there. It was always going to happen for me unless results changed, and they didn't change. So it was simple.
Definitely. Like, you look at it, right? Chelsea, Frank Lampard, he's probably your best ever player. If you ask a Chelsea fan, you'll say Lampard. Some will say Drogba, but let's say 90% are going to say Lampard.
Yeah.
Man United, no one's going to say Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He has that moment in the European final where he gets the winning goal or whatever. Yeah. Arteta was I wouldn't say he was average. Like, he was an average midfielder that ended their trophy drought as a captain with Arsenal when he won that FA Cup. And
I think he was slightly above average, but
he was. Right. You know what I mean. He wasn't like a Vieira.
Not a legend.
Definitely not legend.
Yeah.
What Chelsea do? They sacked their greatest ever player. Man United, Arsenal. It's grand. Give Ole time. Give Arteta time. It just kind of goes to show where the ambition's at. The Glazers are just happy. We get top 4. We get our money. We don't get top 4, or we have to invest a bit. We'll get top 4. You know what I mean? Roman Abramovich wants to win the titles. He wants to win Champions Leagues. He wants to win. You know what I mean? Same with Arsenal. They trust the process and all this sort of crap. Yeah. I know he won that FA Cup, Arteta, but I seen somewhere on Twitter today that they have more losses than Brighton this season.
I think that is, they have a lot. I don't know the actual statistics of it. I haven't looked at the league table in a while, but it is something mad like that. They've got a lot of defeats. I think they definitely have more defeats than wins from what I remember. It just goes to show, though, where the ambitions are at. You just act ruthlessly. Roman says, look, good luck, Frank, thank you. Bang. He's have a proper manager in. I think he only got 18 months as well, didn't he? So it kind of shows he's very short term.
He's under pressure straight away. That sort of way. I always liked that with Chelsea. They would just sack the manager. And it's worked for you. He's won titles. You know what I mean? It works for you. After, what's your man's name? Di Matteo, when you won that Champions League.
Yeah.
A month or two later, I'm not sure how long exactly, but bang, you're gone. You're not good enough.
I think he got to October, November. He wasn't doing very well in the league and he was sacked. The thing is, I don't want it to be like that, but if it has to be, it has to be. I don't want it to be a situation where you sack someone every year. I would like us to do a project where Tuchel stays for 3, 4, 5 years and we have a bit more longevity, just because I feel like when you sack managers, yes, you get success, but you also get a lot of short-termism. You get a lot of players from a lot of different systems that don't suit the style of football. You've got wing backs, you've got left backs, you've got, it's very up and down. It's not really consistent. And it's very hard to blood in youth as well when you have so many changes of manager. So there's a lot of reasons, as we can see with Klopp and Pep, as to why I would want stability, but I will never ask for stability if it's not going in the right direction, just for the sake of stability. If the manager's not good enough and he's not taking you in the right direction, there's no point of plummeting just so you don't sack a manager, which makes no sense to me. So
just blind faith, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just blind faith, exactly. So from the moment, it was easy for me because from the moment I couldn't give any more logical reasons to why he should stay, then I just said he had to go respectfully. So, for me, Chelsea, the way that they've appointed Tuchel has been quite smart because I feel like he's on an 18-month contract, but it just means that he understands that he has to come in and get the job done in terms of hitting top 4. And if he does well, he gets an extension. And he said that in his interview. He said, why would I worry about a 5-year to an 18-month deal when you could get sacked anytime anyway? Even if you get a 5-year deal, you can still get sacked. So who really cares? Do you know what I mean? It doesn't really matter. Just come in and do the job and you'll be here.
I think Tuchel is a great appointment though. I think he got lucky with the players that Frank brought in. I think a lot of them do suit his type of play. I think they'll be really big contenders next season if he keeps it up. If he gets time with them players, he's come in mid-season and he's been given one job, get us back up, get us top 4, and he's doing phenomenal. Imagine him after a full summer, lots of weeks training with
recruitment.
I think they're going to be a big problem.
Yeah, there was reports that came out when Lampard was here last summer that a lot of the signings were actually club signings, and they were more suited to the successor. Lampard's signing was definitely Chilwell. The club had always been scouting Ziyech for years. Kai Havertz was definitely a club signing. So it was kind of a balance of both, where they suit you, Frank, but if you don't do well, then it's kind of for the successor. I feel like Chelsea were always chasing that Pochettino or that Nagelsmann or that Tuchel in that order as well. And obviously, Pochettino ended up going to PSG. Tuchel wasn't even their first choice, actually. It was actually Poch. And then Nagelsmann they wanted, but he wouldn't come until the summer. So Tuchel wasn't first choice, but I've been so impressed with Tuchel in terms of the way that he speaks in the media, the way that he articulates himself. He speaks in detail about his approach, his tactics, his decision-making. That's all you can really ask for as a fan, even if you don't agree. I didn't agree that he subbed off Hudson-Odoi against Southampton, but it didn't matter because he explained himself, so I can't really be angry. He's just very articulate, speaks very well. He's brought the squad together in terms of unity. We've got a very big squad that needed to be brought together. A lot of players on the peripherals that couldn't get in the team that were causing upheaval in the backgrounds. And I just think his character is just really good. I'm really impressed. So I'm very interested to see how we do this summer if we go again with ruthless, a ruthless approach. And I think, no, we probably will, because I think Chelsea want to take advantage of the fact that a lot of other teams are in a weak position financially, obviously due to the pandemic and the lack of gate receipts and stadiums and whatnot. So I think we'll probably try and take advantage and set ourselves up for the next few years where we don't have to be so aggressive in the market after that.
Yeah, I think this is where we come to our biggest downfall. Liverpool don't play aggressive this summer. There's no doubt there's money in that club. We always act like there isn't any, but we know there is. One of the biggest clubs in the world. We didn't play aggressive for how many years now? We're playing like a buy and sell club. We're playing like the way we act in the markets as if we're a Southampton or something like that. We need to be really aggressive this summer, I think, or we're going to fall way off the chase.
Yeah, people are talking about FSG and will they be? It's a difficult one because it seems like you guys go over buy to sell mentality. A sell to buy.
Definitely.
And it was evident with Timo Werner. There was a release clause there. He was twerking, lap dancing up on stage in his Leipzig interviews for Klopp, and you guys didn't go for him, and that was alarming to me because he was there for the taking.
Yeah, I think with Werner, the big thing was the wages. Actually, I think he's on. It's not always
200. It's not always accurate with the report, but he's on a lot.
Well, I think what people forget is they just see the transfer fee. They don't look at the wages. Let's say like David Alaba. I think he's going to go on a free, probably to Real Madrid. Yeah, everyone will be saying, "Oh, why don't we sign?" You know what I mean? It's like he's going to be wanting 300-400 grand a week, and that's a lot of money to pay over the next 3 or 4 years or whatever. So I just think people miss out. They just go solely on the fee and don't look at anything else.
You can see that happening inside our club, though, even with Gini Wijnaldum. I've said this numerous times. I think he's been our most consistent performer this season, maybe even the past couple of seasons. He always gives a 7 out of 10. And they won't increase his wage. They won't sign a new contract on when, like, clearly we need him. We've relied on him for so many games. It's really annoying. It's frustrating how tight they are. Because I would say this about Liverpool: we're quite a patient fan base. I'd say we expect this, but for
30 years. So.
Yeah, but for money wise, we've always been quite, lackadaisy about it. Yeah, but like it's coming to the point now where they're going to need, like, we've won the Champions League. We've won the Premier League. We know the money's there. They're going to have to put it back in.
Do you know what your biggest issue is? That you've been able previously to sell a Coutinho, to sell a Sterling, to sell a Suarez, and reap big money to revamp the squad. You don't have now too many players that command high market value that you can do that with because of their age. So Salah, Firmino, Mane, they're all coming towards the prime.
They're all 29,
Yeah, so they're not going to command the type of fees where you're going to say 150 million for these guys. You're not going to sell Van Dijk, so that's not going to happen. And then you look around the rest of the squad, where can you really get value? Unless you're going to sell like a Trent or someone like that, which I don't see happening because he's obviously, he's an academy boy. You're gonna have to have a cash injection, 100%. You're not going to be able to just sell to buy because the value of a lot of your players is not really sky high, especially in a market where people are trying to penny pinch anyway. So Chamberlain coming in, I don't know how much you guys paid for him in the end. I think it might be 35, 40.
Big money.
40 million. Yeah, he's been injured a lot. Keita, 58 million. Thiago was obviously a free, which was a good deal. So you spent money, but it's always been because you sold as well. You balanced the books out quite well. I think in terms of net spend, you guys are not really doing too poorly. I think we're both doing quite well. It's usually Man United that kick up a storm there. So yeah, it's interesting one. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Just before we finish up there, where do you see Chelsea finishing this season? Do you win a trophy? Do you win a trophy, and where do you finish?
I had us at the start of the season to finish second, which was crazy. I guess I won't change from that because I do feel like we can hunt down Manchester United, because I think Man United are honestly a disgrace to the second position. They're the worst team. They are absolutely dreadful. Their record against the top six is abysmal. I mean, they lost 6-1. Yeah, the way that they play everything, the top to bottom is just shocking. They obviously lost 6-1 to Tottenham and then 1-0 to Arsenal. And ever since then, they've just been scrapping 0-0s for everybody. And Solskjaer's really just biding his time, really, and just riding his luck. And I keep saying this to any Man United fan who disagrees: you're not going to win anything major with this brother in charge. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's smiling when players miss shots and you draw games. He's not serious. So I think they need to come down from that position. I would actually even say to them that if teams around got their ideas together, they wouldn't even be slotted in guaranteed for top four, because I think it's a 6-point gap between West Ham and Everton to Man United, and both West Ham and Everton have games in hand. So it's a very tight race. Chelsea are actually not really top four if someone else takes advantage of their game in hand. So it's very tight. I think you can go down as far as to maybe Tottenham. You can't really go down any further than that. Villa's also got games in hand. Arsenal are definitely not in this conversation. So for me, I'm going to keep it at second, just because I think we can do it if we stay consistent, but realistically probably third, because I think Leicester will probably drop out. They got a lot of injuries as well over the course of the season. James Justin was one of the big ones. And then trophy-wise, for me, we've got to go and get that FA Cup. I think we've got, I can't remember who we've got, Sheffield United, I think, next, and then we're in the semis if we beat them. So for me, we have to go and get that cup. We've pissed it up last year against Arsenal. Wasn't impressed with that. Obviously, Champions League's going okay. Obviously, we beat Atletico, job still to be finished, but we need to win a trophy. So FA Cup in third or second, I'll take.
Yeah, that'd be a good season for you. Very good season.
Can't say we'll be up there, which is...
Yeah. I wish.
Oh, God. You know what it is, yeah? Football goes in cycles, and I feel like you guys have been at the top of English football now for a good 3-4 years. You had basically 2 title-winning type seasons in the points tally. You was very unlucky against Manchester City. I think people forget that. That was a very draining season for you. And people don't really give you the credit you deserve there for going that, toe-to-toe with, Man City for that many points. Any other season, you win the league. And then you have back-to-back titles, and everybody looks at this completely differently. Win the Champions League. Sure. The year before Champions League final, and the year before that Europa League final. I remember it all very well, the Dortmund win and everything, the Sevilla defeat. But from that moment, you were serious. So you've been here for 4 years. You haven't really picked up many injuries. You've been playing a high pressing system with a lot of young players coming through in terms of Trent and players like that. And obviously Salah. These are all very quick, energy motivated players. And when you don't have breaks, from a title winning season to this season, there's not really much of a preseason. When you're at the African Cup of Nations with Salah and Mane, when Firmino's at the Copa America, it takes its toll. And right now, your players are just exhausted. You haven't got I wouldn't say depth in terms of quality. You've got depth. You've got players. You just don't have quality depth. So in some areas, so it was always going to take its toll. I say it's draining for Klopp as well. The seasons he's had, obviously, with his mum passing as well. Rest in peace to her. Everything's just been mad. So for me, for you guys, just really write off the season, and I think go again next season and try and rebuild.
For sure. Yeah, look, we're ended up there. Big thanks, Matisse, hopping on our channel. Good chat. Pity it wasn't after a big Liverpool win, look, but hopefully we'll do that again after we do finally just win maybe 2-3 games in a row. But yeah, shout yourself out. What's your YouTube? What's your Twitter? What's your Insta? All that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a pleasure coming on, guys. Thanks for having me. Obviously, YouTube, MAH, uploading daily content on there. Got another show coming up tomorrow with Alexis Nunes from ESPN. She's a really good presenter, so I'm looking forward to talking to her, getting into the depths there. And obviously, we kick on for the fixtures as well. And yeah, BBC 5 Live going on there quite regularly, Premier League as well. So loads of stuff going on, really just to follow the YouTube, Twitter, MAH as well, and you'll be updated there as well.
Yeah, we'll have the links in the bio. Yeah, thanks everyone for watching. It's been a pleasure. See you next time.